Kurt Cobain's Mustangs are more popular now than ever, and since Fender is no longer producing the Kurt Cobain signature models, us fans have to either pony up the cash for a used one, or assemble our own from similar guitars or various parts that are available. Kurt's in utero era Mustangs, specifically his Skystangs, and Roseland Ballroom version of the Orange Stang, wore a very specific looking red tortoiseshell pickguard. In this video, we are going to look through some of the pickguard options that are available. There are many, but in my opinion, only a few that are a really good match. I'll also show you my guitar that I am wanting to modify to be somewhat Roseland-ish, and I'm going to talk about the platform options which are commonly built upon for this type of build. So this video may be relevant to Skystangs as well. The ideal starting point for one of these projects would be a Fender Japanese 1969 reissue, known as the MG69. The early 90s models were made in the Fujigen factory where Kurt's was built. These have Made in Japan markings on the neck, down at the heel by the body. A Sonic Blue model is ideal, and those came with the perfect red tortoiseshell pickguards. They were made for two single coil pickups, however they can be carefully cut to accommodate a full-size JB humbucker by the bridge. The later models, which are marked Crafted in Japan, seem like great guitars as well. However, the tortoiseshell pickguards on the later models are darker and have a more brownish look to them. Not that they look bad, but they don't quite look the part for a Kurt Cobain Mustang. The Fiesta Red MG69s are a great starting point for an Orange Stang with the JB, already having the white pearloid pickguard, but they would be great for a Roseland style Mustang with a proper red tortoise pickguard as well. I've been looking at the pickguards of the Roseland Ballroom show, and this is the only one show where the Mustang was used in this configuration, and I'm not sure if it's because of the low lighting, but in some shots it does look like it's a little darker red, but in other shots like this it looks similar to the Skystangs, like a medium red with a little yellow marking just to the right of the neck pickup. You can also see there were smaller various yellow marks throughout, but in my opinion it was more of a medium red than a brown, maroon, or purple. Okay, so now we're going to look at the pickguards that are available in the aftermarket. Unfortunately, I'm a little bit late to the game as I realized I should have purchased a custom pickguard from Lomic Guitars while they were still in business. I see many people have them and they look really great. Some were even made to be exact replicas of the pickguard pattern on Kurt's Skystang 1, including the famous yellow V marking. For my build, I'm not set on getting something that specific with his exact pattern. I'm aiming more for Cobain-ish or period correct. Pickguards out of the UK offer tortoiseshell pickguard patterns used on classic Fender guitars from the 1960s to 1990s. These are probably the next best thing after a Lomic in terms of Cobain Mustang exact replica pickguards. The site states that these pickguards are 100% handmade and are not 100% glassy smooth like mass-produced pickguards from factories, although pride is taken in making each pickguard as close to perfection as they can get it. It says that the pickguards are a modern celluloid alternative type material and not made of celluloid. The Cobain guards are priced between $130 and $150 US, with another $25 or $30 to ship to the States. Pickguard guards also offer a Roseland Ballroom replica that look awesome. I found a couple of examples which were previously sold on Reverb. In my opinion, the price on these is fair, especially since they can make it for your specific model, so likely you will not have to do much to make it fit. I have seen many positive reviews for these custom pickguards. I may buy one of these eventually, but for now I'm thinking I'm getting something a little bit cheaper that may come a little bit faster. The site says to allow a lead time, which is currently 8 to 10 weeks from placing an order until shipping, although the time will vary depending on current orders. And then there's Spitfire Pickguards, another company who is making nice vintage red tortoiseshell pickguards. However, they are priced at $295 for a new one and $350 for a relic guard. So I'm not really going to explore that idea too much, especially since my build is a mid-budget build. So on Amazon, Musically has a vintage tortoise pickguard that looks a little darker than I would like, and it's not made for my Squire, so I'll have to modify it, but that's not a huge deal to me. But then I looked in the review section and someone posted a picture of theirs and it looks very unappealing. I realized they will all likely be a little different, but I'm not feeling this one. It looks like somebody squirted mustard on it. Also on Amazon is a red pearl one, which looks pretty decent, and I would probably use this on a Skystang build, but I can't on mine because it will be a Roseland look with two single coil spaced holes and not a humbucker. And yeah, I know it's red pearl and not the correct tortoise look. All Parts has a red tortoise one, which looks decent, although it is a little darker red than I think the ones that came on the MG69s, but it looks okay. This next one is from a company called Greasy Groove, and it looks a little bit more brown than I would like, so definitely not going to go with that one. And then next up we have one from a company called Paradox, which looks pretty cool, but I wouldn't really say this looks like a 90s Fender Japan Mustang reissue pickguard. Warmoth, a company known for making licensed Fender necks and bodies, offers pickguards that are advertised for Warmoth bodies only. However, like I said, I am not afraid of modifying it a little bit. I seen someone in a Facebook group saying that they made one of these red pearl ones work for a classic vibes Skystang build. And again, it's red pearl, not technically correct, but I like the look of the lighter red. They do sell one which is a tortoiseshell, but as you can see, it's very far from what I'm going for. And then next up on the Chinese website called AliExpress, I found a red pearl pickguard that I think I'm going to try out. It is made for a USA Mustang, so I know it's going to be larger and will definitely need some cutting and sanding in order for it to work with my Squier guitar. But it's only $8.16, so if I can't make it work or I just don't like it, it's not really a huge loss to me. I see some people are using the new Sonic series Mustangs painted in Torino red, and those look pretty cool. Although since Fender decided to only use necks with maple fingerboards on that color, that will definitely inflate the cost to do a Roseland Mustang, because now you're kind of forced to get a different neck too. The Sonic Mustang bodies are routed for just about any pickup configuration. However, if you want to use the two traditional switches instead of the three-way switch, then you'll be required to remove some wood with a router, drill, Dremel, or chisel. Like the previous Bullet series Mustang, the biggest pain in the ass is that they are drilled for a Stratocaster hardtail bridge instead of the traditional Mustang bridge and vibrato setup. This is not a total deal breaker, as you can drill the holes for the bridge and tailpiece only, although it does require some degree of precision and accuracy. For a two-pneumatic setup, you could just drill down into the wood. If you are going to hardtail it, then you don't even need to route the full channels for the springs, only just a couple holes for the bolts. I think if you're using a Bullet Mustang, it's probably more worth it to do, as those were cut with the body contours of the '69 Mustang, unlike the newer Sonic series. Another drawback to both the Bullets and the Sonics is that the bodies are just thinner in general. They are definitely thinner than the vintage modified and classic vibe Mustangs. I wonder if that would translate into some neck dive if you're playing while standing up, but there are always remedies for that should that occur, like relocating the strap button. I don't see a lot of benefits to using a Sonic Torino red model other than its wide availability and relatively low cost, but the cost will add up quick with buying up all the parts that you would need, rather than just buying a vintage modified. Although if you can find a loaded body for a good price, then it would probably be worth it. Eric from Nirvana Guitars had a great video about one which was built from parts and turned out really well. And I get it, these vintage modified Fiesta red ones are not often up for sale. It would probably be better for me at this point just to start with a Japanese Fender MG69, but I already have this one, so this one it is. So this is my guitar here. It's a Squier Vintage Modified in Fiesta Red from 2018. So this one being a 2018 model, it has the Indian Laurel fretboard. The earlier ones had rosewood, so I might actually swap this out eventually for a different neck. Even the ones in the same series, Vintage Modified, the Jaguars, they had thinner necks. This one, it's definitely thicker than the Jaguars of the same series. So I might get either a vintage modified Jaguar neck or maybe a Fender neck. I don't want to put too much money in it because then if I ever go to sell it, then I'll just lose a ton of money. This one here is the first pickguard I had on it, and you can see it's kind of like a brown, dark, maroonish color. And I just wasn't feeling it. It wasn't really giving me the Kurt Cobain Roseland Mustang vibes. At one point, I even put white masking tape over the pickups because I didn't have white pickup covers. So this is the pickguard that I'm going to go with for now. It's not technically correct because it's red pearl instead of red tortoiseshell. But I like how it's the lighter red and not the dark, like maroony red. So I'm going to go with that, try to fit that at least for a little bit. I did have to trim this a bit. I probably trimmed about a ½ inch off here already. Comparing it to this one, I kind of use this one as a template. I left a little more than I needed to. I will probably still have to trim it a little more. But I think it should work out good. For the price, you can't really go wrong. I got this from AliExpress, and I think it was like maybe $11 or $13, something like that. I should have actually ordered the JB Junior. I gotta get the white JB Junior to replace this pickup here. So yeah, hopefully I'll get that in. I probably will start tearing it down and fitting this before that gets here. But I'll make another video when it's all together so you can see what it looks like and how it sounds. And then I have white covers that I got too from Amazon, real cheap. I think it was only like maybe $5 or something for a pack, 2 or 3 of them. So I'm going to swap that over. Yeah, so I'm going to rip it apart and then put it back together and we'll see how it is. Whenever I take apart guitars, I like to have this little magnetic tray to dump all the screws and springs in because it's so easy to lose these little parts. Ziploc bags also work great in order to avoid losing your parts. So I had to shave down this pickguard by the trem plate and also where it meets the neck in order to get the majority of holes to line up. 2 screw holes at the top and 2 by the control plate did not line up. There are many different ways to cut the pickguard, but I used aviation shears and also a heavy grit sandpaper. I left the plastic on until I did the majority of the cutting and sanding. I like to use the sandpaper as you just take a little bit off at the time, although it can be tedious, but you can keep checking it so you don't cut too much off. Unfortunately, I couldn't find the white covers that I bought, although I foresee some difficulty as the black covers on these Duncan design pickups, it seems like they're glued on or something. So hopefully I can pry that off without ruining it, otherwise I might be replacing the neck pickup also. I did slap it all back together to get a feel for how it looks, and I'm kind of mixed on it, but I don't think it looks bad. I am probably going to order the JB Junior and roll with this for at least a little while. To do this correctly, 4 new holes will need to be drilled, although I'm going to hold off on that for a little bit to see if this will stay on here long term. I also applied some guitar honey to the fretboard, hoping to darken it a bit while I have the strings off. So props to you if you made it this far in the video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.